Namaskaram, everyone. My name is Aparna, and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today, I would like to talk about a topic that is of extreme importance to me personally as a woman, and to as also a human being that lives in this age of Kali or Kali Yuga. And I work with young women. I am the mother of a young woman. And I'm also the mother of a son who's 25, 26 actually. And this topic is so absolutely important to the well being of everyone. And it is a woman's true dignity in today's era of Kali Yuga. So I was born and raised in India, and I came to the US when I was in my early 20s, and I have lived in this country for 34 years. And I can say that I have the best of both worlds and the best of both cultures because when I came to the US, I chose which parts of American culture that I wanted to take into myself, make it part of me, how I was growing up here and how I was assimilating while also keeping beautiful parts of my culture that mean so much to me. And somehow the decades went by, and I work as a spiritual mentor and Vedic counselor today. And I work with all people, women and men of all ages, including teenagers sometimes, and young women. And I am also very active on social media for my own content, but also I like to observe what other people are doing, what the culture is like. And one disturbing thing that I have found is that women are being commodified, but women are also commodifying themselves, especially on social media, OnlyFans, and so on and so forth. So then there's also the aspect of prostitution, sex trafficking, how the entertainment world uses women, and even consumer culture, right? So um, these so called newer freedoms are being reframed as sexual liberation, and often at the cost of a young woman's sense of self, dignity, her self worth, and her inner strength and modesty, even. And we also have these economic systems which are forcing women into roles that might even be in conflict with their natural desires for nurturance, home homemaking, or even having a spiritual life. The cost of living is forces women to go do that, but that's a whole separate topic, right? But if we look at it from the Vedic angle, and I know the US is not a Vedic culture, but I think that there's a lot the US can benefit from bringing in some of these dharmic way of living, right? So some of the dharmic principles assign women a very powerful central sacred role as holders of dharma, as the central figure of a home, and therefore they are considered the stabilizers of society. So I'm not saying that I'm against women's rights, but I'm against the form those rights have taken, which often turn women into objects that somebody gets to use or take rather than honoring women as powerful agents of dharma. And Kali Yuga is an age of absolute distortion, decline, um, great tamasic energy abounds, and there's a lot of confusion. So much confusion, so much pain, and so much loss as a result. So, the global sex trafficking is a $150 billion industry. I hate using that word. And it's tied to poverty and war and organized crime. Pornography consumption has grown dramatically and has measurable effects on how both men and women see relationship, intimacy, body image, self-worth, even closeness in relationship between two people. And consumer culture often uses women's bodies to sell products, setting extremely unrealistic standards and creating pressures to perform or look a certain way. When I'm on Facebook, if I see any ads that exploit women, I call out those companies. I will comment and I will say, I will never buy from you. You are using women as sexual objects to titillate and to sell things. And that paradigm is done. And we all need to be engaged in ending that paradigm of marketing and selling. And even the term idol for celebrities, is it's very telling. They can shape our collective mind, sometimes glamorizing their lifestyles that are so destructive. Um, what happens to people's consciousness when there's a lot of fame and money and all the things they do to themselves that is viewed as something to strive for. So, in the dharmic plane, a woman is called Graha Lakshmi. Griha Lakshmi, the prosperity and the spiritual center of the home. She is considered Shakti, the active power without which no creation or dharma is sustained. Women are considered the teachers of culture because children first learn from their mothers. So I call for a return to dharmic living. I'm going to declare that the time has come to return to dharmic living. We need to protect our girls. We also need to protect our young men, our boys, from what they're exposed to, right? But for now, we'll just talk about women. Across the world, we're told that women are freer now than ever before. Legal rights, workplace opportunities, sexual liberties have expanded dramatically over the past several decades. And yet, many women are more exhausted, more objectified, and more spiritually disconnected than ever before. And my guess is more women are used by predators than, say, a few years ago, thanks to all these dating apps and all the strange ways that people are meeting these days. Video games, all sorts of different things online, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, right? So, modern society often equates women's empowerment with sexual freedom. What does that even mean? Sexual freedom, economic productivity, and in so many ways, a rejection of traditional roles. And I feel that has come at a heavy cost. And one of my favorite, favorite statements from one of the ancient Indian texts says, where women are honored, there the divine rejoices. Imagine that. Where women are honored, there the divine rejoices. And I feel we're so far from that, so far away from that. And, then I ask myself, have we truly created a culture where women are honored? Or have we built a culture where women are bought, sold, used, and thrown like a product? Let's really, really, really think about this. And these statistics that I mentioned a few minutes ago are so sobering. All the ways that systems are profiting from women's commodification, abusing women. And it's time for women to really open our eyes and see things as they are and not fall for this brainwashing that I need to be sexy and I need to express my sexy on social media, and that is my value and my worth. And I see it on social media, on TikTok particularly. Women of all ages, young women, particularly of all races and ages, are making extremely explicit videos of themselves and posting it and getting attention from hundreds and hundreds of men, some who are offering money and asking for Venmo and Cash App and all of that. And there's some way these young women think that they are so powerful. And it's so tragic because in a few years, they're going to look at their videos and think, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? What was I doing? What did I get out of it? So, if we talk about young women as the embodiment of shakti, a woman would be the heart of the home. She would be the source of prosperity and culture. She's the one who draws that energy into the home. And because women are the first teachers of dharma, they're passing on these beautiful samskaras and wisdom to the children. And because of that, women, they shape the moral fabric of a nation. So when women are respected, dharma thrives. There is safety, there is protection, there is love and honoring. And when they're degraded, society collapses. And Kali Yuga is definitely a sign of collapse. Yeah. So let's look at some of the false promises of Kali Yuga. So, premarital sex, adultery, pornography are normalized, right? People are just sleeping with lots of people. There is such a thing as body count. I had no idea what that was. I learned about that about a year ago. Body count is how many people have you slept with. And the bigger your body count number, the better you are. And think of the mental emotional corrosion that happens for young women, the confusion that is created in the emotional body of young women. They can't even really know who they are if they're just switching partners without any reason or purpose or goal. They're just doing it for the fun of it. How can there be any emotional depth in any future relationship that they may have? And marriage age is going to be delayed. Natural family rhythms, natural reproductive rhythms are disrupted. And abortion is widespread. It's so common, it's astounding. So here we are in a crisis. We think that we have progress, but we actually have a very deep, painful spiritual hunger. These beautiful maidens with their deep spiritual hunger. It breaks my heart to think that they have to navigate a world where they're objectified and they're objectifying themselves, and all the pain that they endure. And so many women are abused in these situations. They're abused by their male partners mentally, sexually, emotionally, financially, psychologically. And it can cause high rates of depression, anxiety, loneliness, this feeling of void. I don't know what my future really holds. I don't really know what's out there for me. So I feel very strongly that it's time to claim a vision of womanhood, that we hold space for this for young women, that is dignified, empowered, and rooted in dharma. Dharma. There is a way to live, there is a way to take care of ourselves, there is a way to know the true self that we are. That means we begin to live from the inside out, and what others are doing becomes irrelevant to us. So, on a more global, national, social level, we can fight to end this commodification. But we don't wait for companies to do it, we do it for ourselves. We honor these bodies as vessels of shakti. We don't hypersexualize ourselves on social media or have multiple partners. We take care of our bodies. We take care of our emotional hearts. And yes, we all need career and money and education, but we also need to learn about dharma, the right way to live, holistic health, and the power of investing in developing our character, investing in it for our own sake, not because we're going to get validation from somebody else. And for those who want to be a mother, can we make it viable? Can we make that role so precious and special and important that being a mother, being a maiden, and then being a mother is so revered? And can we all begin to support art and film and music that portray women as wise and strong and beautiful and spiritually centered? So we no longer need to live by society's trends, but by eternal principles of truth and compassion and knowing the true self. All young women need to know the true self. When they meet their true self, they will not sell themselves short. And we have an urgent need to teach. We need to teach them. You are not a commodity. You are a future mother of human civilization. You can embody strength, wisdom, dignity that can elevate generations, that can be your lasting legacy. We really need a dharmic renaissance. And it's not about rejecting modern things, but reorienting our lives around timeless principles and teaching our young women to honor themselves from that place. And if we can see beyond if we can shed these distortions and lies and decline of the Kali Yuga, each one of us, then we can truly be on this path of dharma. So think about this. The issue is not so much about women's rights, but whether the rights today that we have, that we cherish and enjoy, are aligned with our natural spiritual state. I really urge you to think about it. And here are a few more questions for us women. What is true freedom for women? Let's really examine that. Is it simply the ability to do whatever we want, whenever we want? Is it the ability to fulfill our purpose without coercion? Is it that we just exercise freedom because we have it and we don't really have to have a sense of meaning around it? And how do we restore dignity in media and culture of women? Can we create cultural products that portray women as wise and creative and dharmic leaders rather than objects of desire? With the sexy clothing and the different body movements, and what is the value of that? And what does equality really mean? Is it sameness with men, or is it equal respect while honoring differences between men and women? I know I cannot change global systems, but I know that I can support women and guide them and love them and nurture them. And I have done it, and I will continue to do it. What you can do, and if you have a daughter or a neighbor who is struggling with this, you can tell her to curate what she's consuming in terms of social media. Feel bold enough to say, I no longer want to follow certain people or do what everyone else is doing, but I will become more involved in art and film and music that elevates a woman's role instead of objectifying her. And us older women, mature women, we can mentor young women and men, and teaching them, guiding them, and inspiring them that their self-worth comes from knowing themselves. It's not from their peers giving them some compliments and telling them how sexy and hot they are, but that their real value is in their character, in their strength, in investing their time in knowing, what are my gifts? How can I overcome my limitations? And what am I here to give to the world? Really, we need to encourage young people to think like this. And they don't need any self-worth work once they start orienting their minds and their emotions and their hearts towards this. What am I going to give to this world? I'm going to give the world a bunch of sexy TikToks. I'm going to give myself constant visits to Planned Parenthood for STD checks and pregnancy tests and Plan Bs and all of that. Is that who I've become? Is that all I'm here to be? Or is that I bring such light to this world and I'm discovering my light and I know my value? I know what I've come here for, to this planet. I've come here to give my light. I think it's time for us to really think very profoundly about this. We have a generation of young women who are trapped in this prison, this prison of illusion, abuse, self hatred, because they are not fitting a certain image, and they're trying so hard to be this sexy young girl image, wanting to be liked and seen, and it's a most tragic thing. So let us come together. Please share your comments below. Let's see if we can inspire young women to really honor themselves, because they deserve to know themselves for who they are. I thank you so much for spending your precious time with me. Namaskaram.